On February 7th, Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney held a press conference announcing the indictment of Raul Ayala. Ayala is charged with the murder of 88-year-old Edna Schubert, a cold case from December 13th, 2003.
Over 21 years ago, on December 12th, 2003, 88-year-old Edna Schubert was found murdered in her bedroom in North Bayshore. And we are here today because the defendant, Raul Ayala, is now indicted for murder in the first degree for having caused Mrs. Schubert's death. In addition, he is also charged with 2 counts of murder in the second degree.
Tierney spoke about Edna and how she was a fixture in her neighborhood.
Everyone called Edna Grandma because that's how they thought of her. As children, the generations of kids in that neighborhood, Mrs. Schubert would watch them ride their bikes in her driveway. She would allow them to ride her bikes in the driveway. They would come in for snacks. She helped them with their math homework. Again, she was the grandma of the neighborhood.
Albergo, a retired officer, called and got the case reopened. And thanks to advancement in technology, the Suffolk County Police Department was able to find a suspect.
In May of 2023, 20 years after the murder, retired homicide detective Pat Albergo called the homicide section. He had read a book about advances in technology in the area of latent fingerprints and DNA, and he called homicide to talk about his thoughts on that, as well as Edna's murder. And everyone in the Suffolk County PD who worked on it, as well as the Suffolk County lab who worked on it, they remembered this case. Homicide and identification sections worked together, and specifically with regard to a photograph of one of the latent prints found at the scene. It was a blurry photograph. Believe it or not, with modern high definition photography, they were able to take a picture of that picture, which turned out to be the defendant Ayala's left thumbprint.
In 2024, members of the SCPD traveled to Georgia and investigated the defendant.
It was learned that the defendant was alive and was living in Talmo, Georgia. He was currently 51 years old. He was 29 years of age at the time of the murder. Back in 2003, the defendant lived just around the corner from Miss Schubert, less than 200 yards away. And again, they were able to obtain an abandonment sample of DNA, which was compared to the DNA sample left at the scene. And again, it matched.
The defendant faces lifetime in prison without the possibility of parole.